The very foundation of deciding what to do if he comes back starts with a deep, unshakable understanding of your worth. This isn't just about feeling good or thinking positively. It's about recognizing that your value as a person and as a woman is inherent, permanent, and absolutely independent of anyone else's actions, especially his. Far too often when someone leaves or pulls away, we mistakenly tie our self-worth to that absence, as if his leaving somehow diminishes who we are. That couldn't be further from the truth. You need to realize that your worth isn't a reflection of his decisions, his timing, or even his presence. Your worth is about the unique combination of everything that makes you you, your personality, your dreams, your strength, your kindness, your intelligence, and your integrity. It's who you are underneath all the layers, not how someone else responds to you. When you can fully embrace that, you become unstoppable because you're no longer operating from a place of needing approval or validation. This understanding is the starting point for every powerful choice you make. If you think about it, when you don't fully grasp your own value, you become vulnerable to settling for less than you deserve. You might chase after him, forgive too quickly, or accept behavior that hurts you. All because you fear losing what little connection you have, or because you feel like you don't deserve better. But when you know your worth, these fears lose their grip. You begin to set standards for how you want to be treated because you respect yourself enough to refuse anything below that standard. Moreover, knowing your worth helps you to manage your expectations clearly and realistically. You won't confuse love with desperation or attention with genuine care. Instead, you learn to recognize what healthy, respectful connection looks like, and you refuse to settle for anything that falls short. This is not about pride or stubbornness. It's about honoring yourself. When a man comes back into your life, it's essential to ask yourself if his return aligns with the value you place on yourself. Does he treat you with the respect and love you know you deserve? Does he act in ways that show he truly values you, not just when it's convenient? This awareness also builds resilience. Life will always present challenges, and people might disappoint you. But if you have a solid sense of your own worth, you don't fall apart when things don't go your way. Instead, you hold steady. You know you deserve better, and you trust that the right people and opportunities will align with your worth. So, before you decide anything when he comes back, check in with yourself first. Remind yourself that your value does not depend on his presence or absence. Ground yourself in the truth that you are enough, just as you are. This mindset will empower you to make decisions from a place of strength and clarity, not fear or desperation. And ultimately, it's this deep understanding of your worth that allows you to create the life and love you truly deserve. When someone you care about leaves or disappoints you, pain is almost inevitable. It's a natural human response to loss, rejection, or betrayal. But here's the crucial distinction you need to understand. Pain is a reaction, not a decision. What this means is that while you cannot always control the emotions that arise inside you, you can control how you respond to them. This distinction is incredibly empowering because it gives you back the reins of your life. Think about it for a moment. When pain strikes, it often triggers impulsive behaviors. You might text him endlessly, seek explanations, or convince yourself you need to fix things quickly to stop hurting. But these reactions, although understandable, are not your only option. You don't have to make choices in the heat of emotional turmoil. Instead, you can learn to pause, breathe, and choose your actions consciously. This is where power lies. Pain is like a fire alarm. It alerts you that something is wrong, but it doesn't tell you how to respond. You get to decide whether you want to respond with calm, dignity, and strength, or with desperation and confusion. When you respond from pain, you often make decisions that prolong your suffering and weaken your position. For example, reaching out to someone who has hurt you too soon, or lowering your standards just to keep them around, are decisions driven by pain, not power. On the other hand, when you recognize that pain is only a reaction, you can create space to respond wisely. This means you honor your feelings. They are valid and real, but you refuse to let them dictate your actions. It's about separating your emotions from your choices. You might feel hurt deeply, but you don't have to act on that hurt in ways that harm your self-respect or long-term happiness. This approach also helps you avoid the trap of self-blame or guilt. Pain can make you question yourself. Did I do something wrong, or why am I not enough? But when you see pain as a reaction, you understand that sometimes people leave or behave badly for reasons unrelated to your worth. You're not responsible for someone else's inability to stay or show up consistently. Choosing from power, not pain, means giving yourself time and space to heal and reflect. It means practicing patience with yourself and your emotions. It means recognizing that healing is a process and you don't have to rush into decisions that could harm your emotional well-being. Finally, when you decide from power, you take back control of your narrative. You become the author of your story, not a passive character swept away by emotional storms. You stand firm, knowing that the pain you feel today does not define your tomorrow. So when he comes back, or when you face any emotional challenge, remind yourself that pain is a natural reaction, but not your final decision. You have the power to choose your next step thoughtfully and with strength. That's where true freedom and growth begin. Power in any relationship, especially when someone comes back into your life, is deeply rooted in self-respect. It's not about control over someone else or trying to manipulate feelings. It's about how you honor yourself and the standards you hold. When you have self-respect, your decisions come from a place of strength and clarity, not confusion or neediness. This distinction is what transforms the dynamic and puts you in the driver's seat. Self-respect means you understand your own value and will not allow anyone to treat you as less than that. It means setting clear boundaries about what behaviors you will accept and what you won't tolerate. When a man returns, it can be tempting to lower your standards to keep the connection alive, but true power is refusing to settle. It's about demanding respect, honesty, and consistency. Because when you respect yourself, you naturally attract people who will respect you too. This doesn't mean you're rigid or unkind. It means you are clear about your worth and won't compromise your peace for temporary comfort. Self-respect means saying no when something doesn't feel right, even if it's hard or disappointing. It means choosing your own well-being over the fear of losing someone. That is the essence of power, making choices that protect your heart and honor your integrity. When you respect yourself, you also communicate that respect to others through your actions. You won't chase after someone who is inconsistent. You won't accept excuses that don't align with your standards. Your self-respect creates a magnetic energy. People feel it, and it shifts the dynamic in your favor. Instead of being someone who begs for attention or approval, you become someone who commands respect simply by how you carry yourself. This self-respect also impacts your emotional state. It prevents you from falling into desperation or insecurity when he comes back. You're not reacting out of fear or pain, but responding with calm confidence. You understand that his return is a possibility, not a guarantee, and you hold your own center regardless of what he does. Moreover, power from self-respect means you don't give away your peace to someone who hasn't earned it. It means recognizing that forgiveness or second chances are gifts you give yourself, not obligations you owe him. You decide if the relationship is worth investing in based on whether it enhances your life and reflects your value. In the end, power rooted in self-respect transforms your entire experience. It means you choose love that feels good, respect that feels genuine, and connection that feels healthy. When he comes back, you aren't desperate for him to fill a void. You're choosing him because he complements the whole, confident person you already are. This is the real power, knowing you deserve the best and refusing to accept anything less. It's not just a mindset. It's a way of living that shapes every decision you make, especially in love. Emotional independence is one of the most powerful tools you can develop, especially when it comes to relationships and decisions about whether to welcome someone back into your life. Emotional independence means you are complete and whole on your own. It means your happiness, your sense of peace, and your self-worth do not rely on another person's presence, approval, or love. When you are emotionally independent, you create a foundation of strength that makes you unshakable. Too often, people fall into the trap of emotional dependence, where they rely on others to validate their feelings or complete their sense of self. This dependence can create a dangerous cycle of needing, chasing, and settling, which ultimately leaves you vulnerable to heartbreak and disappointment. When someone leaves or pulls away, emotional dependence can make you feel empty, incomplete, or desperate to fix things at any cost. But emotional independence frees you from this cycle. When you are emotionally independent, you don't fear being alone, because you understand that being alone doesn't mean being lonely or lacking. Instead, it's an opportunity to reconnect with yourself, to focus on your growth, and to nurture your own passions and happiness. You become your own source of joy, fulfillment, and confidence. This is vital because when a man comes back, you will be able to decide clearly whether to let him in, without confusion or desperation clouding your judgment. Emotional independence also means you won't settle for less than what truly serves you. You won't tolerate behaviors that diminish your peace or disrespect your boundaries just because you fear losing the relationship. Instead, you will hold steady in your standards and values, knowing that your happiness isn't contingent on anyone else's choices. This strength is magnetic. It naturally attracts people who respect and appreciate you for who you are. Another important aspect of emotional independence is self-trust. When you are emotionally independent, you trust your own feelings, instincts, and decisions. You don't look outside yourself for constant reassurance. You know how to listen to your inner voice and honor it, which is essential when evaluating whether someone's return is right for you. Finally, emotional independence empowers you to take responsibility for your own happiness and growth. It means you don't wait for someone else to complete you or fix your problems. You actively work on becoming the best version of yourself, regardless of who is in your life. This mindset not only strengthens your resilience, but also raises your standards and expectations for any future relationships. So when he comes back, emotional independence ensures that your decision comes from a place of clarity and strength. You will be able to say yes or no freely, knowing that your happiness does not depend on his presence. This freedom is the key to creating a healthy, balanced, and fulfilling relationship, one where you are whole first and then choose to share that wholeness with someone else. When someone comes back into your life after leaving or pulling away, setting clear boundaries is absolutely essential. Boundaries are not just rules you impose on others. They are a declaration of how you expect to be treated and a reflection of how much you respect yourself. Without boundaries, it's easy to fall back into old patterns that may have caused pain or disappointment in the first place. Clear boundaries protect your emotional well-being and give you the power to decide how the relationship moves forward. Boundaries start with understanding your own limits, what behaviors you find acceptable, and what crosses the line. This might mean defining how much communication feels healthy, what kinds of respect and honesty you require, or how quickly you're willing to let someone back into your life. These limits aren't arbitrary. They are designed to safeguard your peace of mind and ensure the relationship nurtures rather than drains you. When he comes back, it's natural to want to forgive and forget quickly. But boundaries remind you that forgiveness doesn't mean giving away your power or lowering your standards. Instead, it means you're willing to give the relationship another chance on your terms. You control the pace and the conditions, which allows you to rebuild trust slowly and confidently, rather than rushing headfirst into something that might hurt you again. Boundaries also create clarity, which is critical. When you're clear about what you will and won't accept, it reduces confusion and mixed signals. You communicate your expectations explicitly, which helps prevent misunderstandings or manipulative behavior. If he values the relationship and respects you, he will honor those boundaries. If he doesn't, it's a clear sign that the relationship might not be healthy or worth continuing. Another important role of boundaries is that they protect you from emotional exhaustion. When you're constantly bending or compromising to keep someone around, you lose sight of your own needs and well-being. Boundaries are a form of self-care. They ensure that you don't sacrifice your peace just to avoid discomfort or loneliness. By standing firm in your limits, you send a powerful message to yourself and others that your happiness is a priority. It's also worth remembering that boundaries aren't set in stone. They can be adjusted as the relationship evolves, but only with your full consent and confidence. You might start with small boundaries to test the waters and increase them as trust builds, Or you might decide that certain boundaries are non-negotiable. The key is that you make those decisions consciously and without pressure. Setting boundaries can be uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to putting others' needs ahead of your own. But it's a skill that grows stronger with practice. The more you enforce your boundaries, the more confident you become, and the more respect you earn from yourself and those around you. So when he comes back, remember, boundaries are your best friend. They are your way of saying, I know my worth, and I will not settle for less than respect, honesty, and kindness. From this place of clarity and strength, you can decide what the next chapter looks like, on your terms, and from a position of power, not pain. When someone who is left suddenly comes back into your life, the urge to act quickly can feel overwhelming. Whether it's a rush to respond to messages, an impulse to meet up immediately, or a strong desire to fix everything. Acting too fast can cloud your judgment and lead you down a path you might regret. That's why taking time to reflect before deciding is crucial. It gives you the space to process your feelings, evaluate the situation clearly, and make a choice from a place of calm rather than chaos. Reflection is not about overthinking or obsessing. It's about creating a pause between emotion and action. When you take time to reflect, you allow yourself to step back and observe the situation objectively. You can ask yourself important questions like, why did he leave in the first place? Has anything truly changed since then? What do I really want from this relationship? What do I deserve? These questions help you avoid being swept away by hope, fear, or loneliness. Taking time to reflect also means tuning into your emotional state. Often, when people come back, the excitement or relief of their return can temporarily mask feelings of doubt, pain, or mistrust. By pausing, you give yourself a chance to reconnect with those quieter, deeper feelings that might be telling you something important. Ignoring these signals can lead to repeating the same mistakes or accepting less than you deserve. Reflection also allows you to consider your boundaries and values. You can evaluate if his return respects those boundaries or challenges them. Does he demonstrate through his actions that he's willing to meet you where you are? Or is this a convenience for him? Reflecting on these questions gives you clarity about whether this relationship is a healthy choice or just a temporary fix for loneliness or insecurity. Another benefit of taking time before deciding is that it empowers you to reclaim your power. You communicate to yourself and to him that you are thoughtful, deliberate, and worthy of respect. This mindset shifts the dynamic from chasing to choosing, and that is an important distinction in maintaining your self-respect. It's also important to use this time to seek support or advice from trusted friends or mentors who know you well. Sometimes an outside perspective can help you see things more clearly, or notice red flags you might miss when you're emotionally involved. But ultimately, the decision is yours, and reflection helps ensure that it is made consciously, with all factors weighed carefully. Remember, taking time to reflect is not a sign of weakness or indecision. It's a sign of maturity and self-love. It shows that you value yourself enough to make a decision that serves your long-term happiness and peace. When you give yourself this time, you're far less likely to be manipulated or rushed into something that doesn't align with your true worth. So, when he comes back, your best move is to pause, breathe, and reflect. Let your decision come from a calm, centered place of power and clarity, not from a place of panic, loneliness, or pain. This approach ensures that whatever you choose, it will be the right choice for you. Trusting your intuition is one of the most valuable skills you can develop when faced with the decision of whether to allow someone back into your life. Intuition is that quiet, often subtle inner voice that guides you beneath the surface of your conscious thoughts. It's a natural compass that helps you sense what feels right or wrong, even when logic or emotions pull you in different directions. Learning to listen to and trust this inner guidance can save you from pain and confusion, and help you make choices from a place of wisdom and strength. Many people underestimate their intuition because it doesn't always speak loudly or clearly. It might show up as a small feeling of discomfort, a lingering doubt, or even just a sense of calm when you think about a situation. The challenge is that when emotions run high, especially in matters of the heart, it's easy to ignore these subtle signals. Instead, you might try to rationalize away the doubts or convince yourself to hope for the best. But over time, Ignoring your intuition can lead to repeated mistakes and unnecessary heartache. Trusting your intuition requires practice and patience. It means learning to tune into your body and emotions without judgment. Often your gut reaction will manifest physically. A tightening in your stomach, a sense of heaviness, or a peak. It often signals areas where boundaries were crossed, or where you allowed yourself to settle for less than you deserve. By understanding the source of your pain, you can learn what you need to protect yourself from in the future. This awareness empowers you to make better choices and to insist on respect, honesty, and consistency moving forward. When you respond from power, not pain, you take control of your narrative. You decide how much of your energy and heart to invest, rather than giving it away blindly. You set terms that protect your peace and prioritize your healing. This approach not only safeguards your emotional health, but also sends a clear message to him that you are someone who values yourself and will not accept anything less than genuine care. Ultimately, deciding whether to let him back into your life from a place of power means you are choosing for yourself first. You are not looking to him to fix your pain or validate your worth. Instead, you are choosing because you are strong, whole, and clear about what you want and deserve. This shift from pain to power is the most transformative step you can take. So when he comes back, don't let pain be the driver. Pause, breathe, and decide from a place of strength and clarity. Your future happiness depends on it. When someone who once left comes back, it's easy to become consumed by thoughts of them, wondering if things could go back to how they were, or if this time will be different. But one of the most important things you can do for yourself in this situation is to shift your focus away from his return and place it squarely on your own growth. This shift in perspective is a game changer because it empowers you to prioritize your well-being and development, rather than making your happiness dependent on his actions. Focusing on your growth means investing time, energy, and attention into becoming the best version of yourself. It means pursuing your goals, nurturing your passions, improving your emotional health, and cultivating a strong sense of self-worth. When you focus on growth, you are building a foundation of confidence and resilience that no one else can shake. This kind of inner strength makes you far less vulnerable to disappointment or emotional manipulation. One of the reasons growth is so vital is because it puts you in control of your life. Instead of waiting around for someone else to decide whether they want to come back or stay, you are actively shaping your future. This proactive stance is empowering. It reminds you that your happiness and success are your responsibility, not someone else's. Whether he comes back or not becomes secondary to the exciting journey you're on with yourself. Focusing on growth also helps you clarify what you truly want and deserve in a relationship. As you learn more about yourself, your values, and your boundaries, you develop a clearer picture of the kind of partner and relationship that will genuinely support your happiness. This clarity protects you from falling into old patterns or accepting less than you deserve just because someone is available. Another important benefit of focusing on your growth is that it naturally attracts people who respect and appreciate you. When you are confident, passionate, and aligned with your purpose, you radiate an energy that draws in those who are ready to meet you at your level. This means that if he truly wants to come back, he will have to step up to meet the person you have become, not the person you were before. It's also worth noting that focusing on growth doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or pretending everything is perfect. It means holding space for your emotions while still moving forward with intention and self-respect. Growth requires patience and self-compassion, especially when healing from past hurt. But it also demands that you don't let setbacks define you or keep you stuck. So when he comes back, resist the temptation to make his return the center of your world. Instead, keep your eyes on your own path. Keep investing in your dreams, your health, and your happiness. This way, you maintain your power and ensure that any decision you make about him comes from a place of strength, not need. In the end, focusing on your growth guarantees that no matter what happens with him, you will continue to move forward, stronger, wiser, and more fulfilled than ever before. Making decisions from power rather than pain is one of the most transformative approaches you can take, especially when someone who once left suddenly comes back into your life. It's easy to let past hurt, fear, or desperation dictate your choices, but those decisions rarely lead to lasting happiness or respect. Instead, when you choose from power, you reclaim control over your life, set clear standards, and prioritize your well-being. This shift changes everything. Deciding from power means you pause and evaluate the situation with clarity. You don't let emotions like loneliness, sadness, or fear push you into hasty actions. Instead, you ask yourself important questions. Am I choosing this because I genuinely want it? Or because I'm afraid of being alone? Does this decision align with my values and boundaries? Am I respecting myself by considering this? By taking this step, you separate your true desires from emotional impulses. One of the key elements of making decisions from power is self-awareness. It requires you to be honest with yourself about your feelings and the reality of the situation. Sometimes, it means admitting that you still feel hurt, or that trust needs to be rebuilt slowly. It also means recognizing if the other person has truly changed, or if patterns of behavior are likely to repeat. This honesty is empowering because it prevents you from fooling yourself or ignoring red flags in the hope that things will be different. Choosing from power also means embracing your right to say no. Saying no is not a rejection of love or opportunity. It's a declaration of your self-respect. It's saying, I value myself enough not to accept less than I deserve. When you say no from a place of power, you're not being spiteful or closed off. You're protecting your peace and setting a standard that others must meet if they want to be part of your life. On the flip side, if you do decide to say yes, make sure it's because you truly want to, not because you feel pressured or scared. Saying yes from power means you're open, hopeful, and confident in your boundaries. It means you're willing to give the relationship a chance, but with your eyes wide open and your heart guarded by wisdom. It's also important to remember that making decisions from power is an ongoing process. Sometimes you'll need to revisit and reassess your choices as circumstances change. Power comes from staying connected to yourself and your values throughout the journey, not just at one moment in time. When you choose from power, you reclaim your story. You move from being a victim of circumstance to an author of your life. This mindset shift improves not only your relationships, but your overall sense of happiness and fulfillment. It sends a message to yourself and to others that you are someone who honors their worth and will not settle for less. So when he comes back, remember, your decision is yours alone. Make it from power, not pain. Stand strong in your truth, honor your journey, and choose what truly serves your highest good. This is how you create the kind of love and life you deserve. At the end of the day, when he comes back, the power to choose is entirely in your hand. This moment is not about reacting from old wounds or filling a void left behind. It's about standing tall in your truth and making a decision that honors your worth. Remember, you are not defined by his actions, by what he did or didn't do, but by how you respond. Choosing from power means you are the author of your story, not a passenger swept along by emotions or circumstances. It means taking time to reflect, trusting your intuition, and setting clear boundaries that protect your peace. It means focusing on your growth, on becoming the fullest, strongest version of yourself, regardless of who comes or goes. Love, respect, and happiness are not about chasing someone back or settling for less than you deserve. They come when you stand firm in your value and refuse to make decisions out of pain or fear. When you decide from power, you create space for a relationship that truly aligns with your needs and desires. Or you create the freedom to walk away knowing you did so with strength and dignity. So if he comes back, take a deep breath, pause, reflect, and then decide. Not because you're desperate or hurt, but because you are confident, whole, and ready to choose what truly serves your heart in your future. You deserve nothing less.